is we are going to work on the thank you page. We're going to start with the thank you page because once you set up your thank you page, you will then be ready to do the rest of the setup. And you really should do this page first, followed by, actually, and what it should follow is making sure that you have your deliverables in your delivery system. And we went over that in the previous session. If you recall, you'll notice here that we have our two files here inside of MediaFire. Now, you can use Dropbox or any other delivery system that you want. Of course, you can also use a system where you're doing it inside of the same place where you're going to be putting your domain files, right? But I do not advise that. I advise that you get a system where people are going to be able to hit those files where they're going to be able to get them from a separate location, because what can sometimes happen is you can get a lot of traffic at the same time while somebody's coming to your sales page. You don't want them necessarily going to the download files, and in some cases where you have an ISP or you have hosting, all that traffic coming at the same time, they can throttle the traffic. Right? So again, I suggest you get a delivery account. You can get Amazon S3. We talked about the fact that Amazon S3 last night will charge you for the bandwidth that you use. So the people that are coming to your site, if you get a lot of traffic, you get a lot of people downloading big files, that can cause you a problem. It can cause you an expense. Now again, it's not going to be a big expense, but it is going to be an expense. Let's go back to the presentation. What we're going to do first, obviously, you want to make sure that you upload your pages and images to the server first. Now, that means then you're going to need to go to your FileZilla account. You're going to need then to decide where you're going to put your files or what you're going to name your system. Now, in this case, we're going to name this file, we're going to name this product Dragon. So we're going to put a subdirectory there called Dragon. Right, so I'm going to look inside of Dragon here. You notice there's not going to be any files. What I'm also going to be able to do then is once I place my files there, I'm going to be able to see those files inside of that subdirectory. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my thank you page, which is the download page here. I'm just going to grab all these files. And I'm going to drag and drop them into FileZilla, into the directory I just created. Right, and actually what I can do here is I can call this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this something separate. I'm going to call this DL, and I'm going to give this thank you 2018, or thank you DR. Right, I'm going to move all those files inside of that subdirectory. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test out this directory. So I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go to my incognito browser. I'm going to place that URL inside of the address bar. When I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the public HTML. And then I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to bring this all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to put HTTP. You put HTTPS if you already have a secure domain. And then what we're going to do is we should be able to then see our download page or our thank you page. All we did was upload our documents to a directory inside of our FTP. Right? That's all we wanted to do right now. We haven't connected anything. We just want to make sure that our files work. Okay, so to go forward now, what we're going to do now is we're going to now start to edit this page. So we've uploaded our pages to the server. We've checked the appearance. Our appearance is good. We're now going to check the URL. We just did that. Right? So that's what we did when we went to this URL based on the directory that we put this in. And we want to change that URL to make it unguessable, right? So here's what we want to do. I'd like to then change this to something that's going to be not guessable. So I'm going to change the name of this to, maybe I'm going to change the name. I'm going to append that with a number, right? I might append this with 723 or something like that. But I just want to make it so that it's not guessable, right? Then that's going to be our directory. So then I'm going to go back. I can then copy my URL, and I can then see that new URL. Remember, I'm going to take the public HTML out. I'm going to reduce the FTP domain. And then this is now my new URL for my thank you page. Right? So I just wanted to change that number or that URL so that it can't be guessed, because we're not going to secure this domain, this URL. We're not going to secure the content on there. We're going to make this easy to get to. And so in order to do that, we're just going to make this something that's hard to guess. Right now, what we're now going to do is we're now going to get that link that we created from our delivery location. Right? So that means now that we're going to go back to the area where we uploaded our files. In this case, we have something inside of MediaFire. We can go to this download arrow or drop down arrow. We can then copy the link. That link is then copied to our clipboard. We now have that link inside of our clipboard. And now what we're going to do is we're going to change the HTML code inside of the thank you page file. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to this file, and we're going to change the index file here. Now, in some cases, what you're going to have here is you're going to have a page that says thank you.html. Now, in this particular product, what you have here is you have a separate subdirectory, and you have an index file. And again, all that does is make it easy for you to be able to change the file. So we're going to then right-click this file, and I'm going to open this inside of my HTML editor. Now, currently, I'm using Adobe Dreamweaver. You could be using something like Composer. You can use something like NVU if it's free, or whatever your HTML editor is. You are then going to open this index file with that editor. So I'm now going to click this box. That's going to open up this file inside of my HTML editor. Now that's going to take a minute because of the timing. Okay, so we have opened this up inside of the HTML editor. Now, most HTML editors will allow you to split the screen between what you can see as well as the code. What I like to do is to go to the split screen. That allows me to see the page. It allows me to see the code at the same time. And pretty much where I place my cursor inside of the page, it'll also be in the same place inside of the code. If I highlight the code, I can also be in the same place on the screen. Right now, that's what Dreamweaver does, and indeed, most HTML editors do the same thing. So what I'm going to do now on the thank you page is I'm now going to scroll down. I'm going to find this download page. If you have a link for the one you're using, you can use that. I'm going to highlight this button, and then I'm going to find it in the code. Right, so you'll see it here in the code. You'll see there that there is a space here for the reference as well as the image source. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that URL that I just copied. I'm going to put it in between the quotations for the link reference. Right, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to click Control V. And what I've done is I've taken that media file URL and I placed it inside of the quotations. Right? So all we've done now is we have then made this button clickable to our file. Right? So now we've pretty much done what we needed to do, except for the fact that if we have a bonus, we may not necessarily have a place for it if there's no button there, right? So if I have a bonus, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to want to place some kind of text in this space. I'm going to make that text clickable. And typically, the easiest way to do that is going to be to find some existing text and then to place that text someplace on the page, either above or below that URL. And what I'd like to do here is I'd like to place my bonus here. That's going to be the easiest place to place the bonus. And all I really need to do here is I'm going to then take my cursor, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a break command, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a BR. I'm going to put another BR and bracket. I'm going to then take this same text, because all I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy that text. I'm going to place it after the break. I'm then going to put another break in there. I'm going to click now in here so I can see, okay, so there's my text. What I'm probably going to want to do now is I'm going to want to then take that text out. What I like to do then is I like to then center things, right? So one of the things that I can do is I can then very simply, I can put a center command in there. Let's place that down on the line where it is. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it behind that text. Okay, I'm going to click inside of here, and now my text is going to be centered. Now what I want to do is I want to change this text to say something like, click here to download your bonus. So I'm going to edit this text to say what I want it to say. I may put it in all caps. Okay, I'll click back inside of there so I can see. Now I have my content, my line here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight this. And inside of Dreamweaver, what I can do here when I highlight that text is I can then insert a hyperlink for that text. Right, you'll see there that it's going to link to this text. I'm then going to place in my bonus link. So I'm going to go back now to my Mediafire. I'm going to grab that link. I'm going to create another link. Now I'm going to come back here. I'm going to place that link inside of the text area. I'm now going to click OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my file. So now I need to save the thank you page file. Right? That's what I do next. So we're going to come back here. I'm now going to save that file. And now all I need to do then is I need to upload this index file to the very same location where the other files are. Right? So now I've saved the file. I can find my folder where the file is saved. I can find my HTML. I'm going to click inside of there. I'm just going to now drag and drop that index file to that same location. FileZilla is now going to ask me if I want to overwrite the file. I should say yes. I'm then going to click OK. That file is now overwritten. Now I should have my new file in the area where my website files are. So now I should be able to go back to test that system or test that page. I should then be able to refresh that page. I now see my link for downloading my bonus content. We've now got our content link here. So now our customer should be able then to click this link, right, to get the file, and they've got the other file. Okay, so there's our file name again. Okay, so that's pretty much going to be our thank you page. We've uploaded our file to the server. We've tested the download link in our incognito browser and we're able to get it. So now we are then ready then to assume that our thank you page is now complete and we're now ready to move on to the next section.